Hi, this is Mr. Chandler. I'm going to summarize the Monroe Doctrine and Manifest Destiny. If you haven't already, please watch the 2.2 video that's also linked on Edmodo. Both of these are very important terms to understand. We'll start with the Monroe Doctrine. The Monroe Doctrine was a warning to Europeans to stay out of the Western Hemisphere, where they could face military action from us. That means they should stay out of North America, Central America, and South America. However, we're really too weak to enforce it, so we rely very heavily on the British Navy to help us enforce it. The importance of it is not really immediately important, but it's going to be very important later in American history, especially when we get to the early 1900s when Theodore Roosevelt is president. Moving on to Manifest Destiny. We talked about this a little bit in 2.1. This is the belief that Americans had a God-given right to all the land on the North American continent from the Atlantic to the Pacific. And it's based on this idea that other people aren't as favored by God as we are, and that should give way to the Americans, and that we'll be able to help those people who aren't as good as us to be better. The first area was Oregon Territory, like we said in 2.1, where we end up splitting the territory between us and Great Britain. And the next is the Texas Revolution. Texas ended up getting its independence from Mexico. However, we don't immediately annex Texas and make it part of the U.S. until after a few years, and that was because of the question of slavery and Texas coming in as a slave state. The non-slave states weren't going to allow that to happen. Some of the effects of Manifest Destiny was that James K. Polk was elected president, who was a very expansionist president, and then also we went to war with Mexico over some disputed territory in Texas, and as a result we gained a lot of territory, and we ended up expanding to the Pacific Ocean, like was our goal. This is an interesting map to look at because you can see the size of the U.S. in 1840 and 1850 and see how the U.S. really expanded a lot in just 10 years, basically from the Atlantic all the way over to the Pacific. So in conclusion, the Monroe Doctrine was basically a warning for Europeans to stay out of our hemisphere, although we really couldn't enforce it. And we were going to keep moving westward, and we're going to gain a lot of land, and that's going to lead to the U.S. stretching from the Atlantic to the Pacific. However, it's going to come at a cost, because the debates about this new territory, specifically the extension of slavery, is what's going to cause the Civil War. Thank you very much for watching. Please go to Edmodo to take the quiz and also to submit your notes guide.